Okay, well, we're here live in Las Vegas with Mr. Bob Burns. Are you Dr. Bob Burns, or are you just a Mr. Bob Burns?
I dropped.
Bob.
Sorry, I do it. I dropped the doctors some years ago.
Okay.
So I just go on Bob Burns. Okay. I have no peers.
All right. Well, we're here with Bob Burns, and he is the inventor, the originator of something called the Swan Protocol. And we're going to explore a couple things related to it today. Bob has been using the Swan Protocol for how long now?
It's been about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Do you call it the Swan Protocol, or it's just the Swan?
I call it the Swan. People started calling it the Bob Burns something or other.
The Burns method.
Yes, and it was so embarrassing. I need to change it to something else. And because of the shit, I got to call it the Swan.
Right. Okay. So what's up with this anyway? Why do you do this?
Okay. So how it started was, if you can imagine, a Saturday morning about 4 or 5 years ago in the UK. There was a cooking program that's on. A guy called James Martin, even today he still does his chefing on a Saturday morning. And one Saturday I was watching the program. My wife, Lee, was upstairs, and I happened to think I run my fingers through my hair, just like so. It's a little bit lower than my chair back home. And it went like so, and I happened to look at the telly, and I looked back, there was my hand, kind of like so. And I think I remember, it was my memory being up and strong, of course, and I tell the story, it gets a little bit different. But I think it was probably kind of like shaped like that. And I remember thinking, it looked like some kind of swan. Some guy in some bar trying to, I don't know, pick up, I don't know, what is it? And my finger, my hand kind of jiggled a little bit. I thought, that's interesting. I'm not very good at the emotive responses and stuff like that. In fact, I'm not good at LMRs at all, never was.
Okay.
So I said, do you think you could try and do that again? Just what you did there, my finger. And I said, could you try it differently? And and at some point there, I said, do you think you turn around and maybe look at me? Do you think you could try and do that? And see how you get on with that. And I remember smiling to myself, thinking, well, this is where it stops. And suddenly, my arm turned, my hand turned really differently. But again, my background isn't psychology. I understand very well Sheville's methods of this wonderful pendulum effect and the emotive response. But I'm not good at it. That's number one. And two, this is more than just a jiggle. This is something strange. And I'm not in hypnosis.
So just to pause here for a moment, for those of you who do not know what an ideomotor response is, ideo is the word for mind. I think it's in Greek or in Latin, one of those old languages that nobody speaks anymore. And motor, of course, is movement, and the idea is that you can think about your body moving, and your body will in turn move without you deliberately actually moving it. So you can tell your unconscious mind, or as you'll explain later, whomever it may be that's actually there, and it will. You'll find that there will be some sort of response available to you. So basically, what Bob is doing here is he saw his hand in this sort of position as it was on the table, and noticed just a little twitch of some sort. This is a ideomotor response. As you become more aware of what's going on in your hand, it almost seems like something else begins to take control. And I invite you, if you're sitting right now at a table, if you want to give this a try, go ahead, put your elbow on the table, and just relax your wrist. Look at your hand. In fact, why don't you tell me what to do right now? Yeah.
So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to stop talking to Gabe, but I'm going to talk to a part within his subconscious. We're not going to argue about this. A lot of hypnotists and clinical hypnotists and therapists say they're talking to this subconscious. I'm more comfortable saying I'm talking to a part within the subconscious. But let's call it the subconscious right now and save ourselves a whole lot of arguments. Okay. So right now, I'm not talking to Gabe right now, but I'm talking to a part within the subconscious. I'm talking to you right now. As I'm talking to you, I don't want Gabe to move something to please me, but I don't want him to fight me either. Rather, I want him to do the part in the middle. I don't want him to fight. I don't want him to try and help me. I want him to allow. There's that word right there. I want him to allow you to take control and do whatever you want. So I want you to take control of his hand right now and see if it's possible. I don't know, that you could tweak a finger. It could be a forefinger that's suddenly out of the blue wants to just kind of lift like that. It could be a small finger that wants to, there we go, just like so. just the craziest thing. It's important that Gabe does nothing to please me in any way, shape, or form. Not that we've done that. Let's move with this, shall we, and just have a bit of fun with some time. Can you take control of the whole of Gabe's hand and his arm? I know it sounds crazy, but can you actually turn it around towards his face like that? Can you try and do that for me? Just see what happens. It's the craziest thing, isn't it? You just get stronger and stronger. You just allow that to build up.
It was crazy.
Yeah. All the way around like so. In fact, if he had eyes and the tips of his fingers, you want to see his face, you'd have to turn the whole hand around like that, wouldn't you? That's right. Just like so. And as that happens, you might want to try and say hi to Gabe. Do you think you try and give him a wave or something like that?
Slap me in the face.
Try and do that and see what happens. Yeah. Just a small kind of wave, kind of a small thing. Yeah, there you go. Nothing wrong with that.
You see that?
As I say to everyone here, you know, not only are you not alone, but you probably never have been. Now at this point, a lot of people think it's a trick and their hand is falling by mistake. So I asked them to do this. So just to prove to Gabe that's not the case, can you take a hold of his hand again, please? Can you turn it all the way back around again, just like so? Just the way it was before.
I hope you guys are trying this at home, because this really is not me. I mean, it's me, but I'm not doing this.
And that will be the argument, is it Gabe? Is it Gabe, i.e. is it his subconscious? Because an idiomotor response again, we took that a bit a stage further. When the man, Anton Chevreul, was doing this back in, I think, 6th, 17th century.
What's his name again?
I think it's Anton Chevreul. It's called Chevreul's pendulum. So if you see these ladies, when someone's pregnant, and they want to find out if it's a boy or a girl, they would hold their hand. Someone else would get a needle and thread, hold the needle on the thread, hold it above their hand, and say if it's a boy, let it go back and forth. And if it's a girl, let it go round and round. Yeah? And the needle would go round for a girl and back and forth for a boy. Of course, if it's right, they claim it's a fact, don't they? If it's wrong, maybe it wasn't working that day. So that's been used for hundreds of years. So this, again, by lots of people, is looked upon as another form of an idiomotor response. But if you think of that, in days, 20 years ago, if I was working with a client, I would never lie to them. I would never say this was magical. I would do it first, and then I would say, you probably think I'm cheating, so why don't you try it? Give them the thread, it will work for them as well. When you think it's going back and forth, it's back and forth. When you think it's going round and round. My point would be, whatever you think, everybody do. I.e., psychosomatic. If psycho the mind tells sumo the body that it's itself. But if we can get psycho the mind to tell sumo the body that it's well, then it can become well. That's the whole concept behind idiomotor response. In a scattered nutshell. Yeah. So here we've got something else now. And the question, the argument is always, is the swan no more than just a really great idiomotor response? And if it is, that's fine. I have no arguments with that. But many people now in more than 50 or 55 countries around the world contact me daily. They're experienced therapists and they say, I've got a funny feeling it might be something else. And that's an open argument, and that's okay. So that, like I said, is this one. Now from here, we can try something else. And I'll keep trying until it feels in an awakened state. Then I'll try it again in hypnosis. Do you want to do this for a bit of fun?
Sure, let's do it.
So
I may need to get a little bit more comfortable though here, because I'm going to fall off my chair if we.
So let's see if we do this. Just break for a second.
All right. How's this over here?
See if we can do. See if we do this, or you can take it onto the left arm, whatever you want to do. Or if you're comfortable with the right and you want to keep it like that, let's do that. Let's see how we get on.
Do not attempt to adjust your screen. We are taking over your living room. Okay, let's move it over here, like so. Okay, so this appears to be about right.
So if I'm working with a client, first of all, if I'm working with a client, at this point in time, I will always say, I take this as far as I can until I get you dancing up on the table. Humor is great in the therapy room, so we'll do this for a bit of fun, and then I'll even go as far as to say this. So again, I'm talking to that same part of Gabe's. Thanks so much for taking part in this. I do appreciate it. Just a matter of interest, if I were to ask you a question, not Gabe, but you, if I were to ask you a question, and the answer was yes, can you show me how you, would you be willing to reply to me? And if so, how would you do it? Is it, for example, would you nod his hand, or would you lift one particular finger? What would you want to do? Can you show me how you would say yes now to me and just see what happens? Oh, so we've got a nod there. So what do you think? Do you think that is you? Do you think there's a bit of you socially complying with me? What do you think? Honest. Be honest.
I mean, having some experience with this, now I know how to just wait for something to happen. But there's a bit of a temptation to sort of try and do something.
Yeah.
The important part is to just sort of trust yourself and wait and see what happens. And like you said earlier, you know, don't try and stop it, but don't involve yourself in it either. Don't make yourself do anything.
Yeah.
Just see what happens. Allow it to happen.
So a situation like this, if nothing's happening, I would ask Gabe or the person there, can you concentrate on your left shoulder, please? Concentrate on your, don't look at it, just concentrate on your left shoulder so his thoughts are not remotely close to his hand at all. But here we've got some movement and they're doing fine. I'll always ask the client, always, do you think you're doing that? A bit of you just to socially comply, just to help me. Remember, all the people who come to see me are paying money. They've traveled miles. Some of them have been on a flight. They're paying serious money to come in front of me and wiggle their hand, my face. I have no idea why they'd want to do that, but if they'd like to do it by the tens of thousands, I'd be happy just to please me. That'd be a great hobby. But they tell me they don't, and I accept that from them. But is there an element that could be the case? Of course it could be. We have to, you know, we can't go off our heads with this. It can happen. It simply happens. So let's see. So again, I keep saying I'll push it and push it till we get. They can't anymore. And even in one case, I told the guy, we'll strip you naked and put you up on top of the table unless something happens. And he laughed, and everyone laughed, and suddenly the swan took place. It's almost like it has something to do with the humor. I don't know. So let's see how we get on with Gabe and see how far it goes. He's not going to be stripped naked. He's not going to talk to the table. But we're going to try and see if we can make some form of communication.
At least not at this time during the day.
Not going to be this time. Not during the day. So let's see what happens if we do this. So just a matter of interest, that same part of Gabe's, a picture again, the outside the right knee is going to be the same side. It's what I want you to do. Different thing to do, I know that. So if I were to ask you how to say no to me, can you show me how you would say no to me? That same part, there you go, and over there. Now we've got, this is a good one. This is a nod and a shake. Sometimes it'll be yes and no. Sometimes with me, I am not as good as Gabe. I'm not even remotely as close as him. This is my yes, and my no is kind of like that. It's a little flinch in a finger. And I did that just to show you. But my yes is normally just that. That's all I get. I'm really not great at this as it happens. But there we go. So let's see what happens if I were to do this. And I might get a no, but we'll see what happens. So that part that I'm talking to within Gabe right now, let me ask you an honest question and give me an honest answer, please. If I were to ask you, just for the sake of this experiment, if it were possible that you could speak to me, would you want to speak to me? I'm not asking you to, I'm asking if you'd like to do it. If I were to ask you, would you like to speak to me if you could? So I have a yes. Let me ask you the next question, because you are speaking to me. You're saying yes and you're saying no to me. You're doing it through his right hand. What would happen if Gabe, so let me ask Gabe a question first of all, I want to come back to you. Gabe, is there any way you could be hypnosis right now? What do you think, honest? There's been no induction as such.
There's been no induction. Certainly as I'm listening to you, I'm weaving in and out of awareness of what it is that I'm doing.
Surely.
Am I in a formal state of trance? No.
Okay. And if somebody would go into it, and it can't happen, pure somnambulist will sometimes just go as I'm talking to them, I will pull them out of it because it's of no value to me. I can hypnotize somnambulists all day long. It's of no value to me, so I don't want that. I do not want Gabe in hypnosis. It's of no value. We'll do that later, maybe, and that might be the thing, as said by the guys, in NLP. There's lovely saying, relax the hell out of them. And I love that saying. I think it's great. For something more relaxed, you can get some fantastic results. But we can do the standing above with a pint of lager and a discotheque playing rugby. We don't need to do hypnosis for this kind of work. So let's see what happens. So that same part, thank you for that. If I were to ask you to speak to me through Gabe's mouth, would you want to do that? I'm not asking you to. I'm asking, would you want to do that? Would you want to try that? I love this because we're not having a thinking time. Yeah, this is not the work of a raving somnambulist. I like it. I like it. And we might get a no. If we get a no, that's it. It stops there. I'm not going to make a fool of you. I'm not going to do anything to embarrass you in any shape or form. Even if it talks, I'm not going to do that. But would you like to try, if it were possible? Would you be happy to do this as an experiment and talk through Gabe's mouth for me?
Yeah, I'd like to try.
I know, but you're not nodding like this. So I'm not getting any social compliance. I love it. This is good. If it goes no further now, it's highly successful because this is great. There's been no social compliance. There's no hypnosis. There's no ideomotor response. Ideomotor response, if it were, has now stopped. Interesting.
What is interesting? What is that?
What is that? Right. And even when there's nothing there, what is that? When it doesn't happen, what's happened there? We're having some thinking time.
See, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for something to happen.
So again, if I could prompt you again, would you like to try? Nothing big. I'll tell you what it is in a moment. If you trust me. If you're, there we go. Thank you.
Do you feel that?
So what I want you to do now is, I want you to control Gabe's cardiovascular system, his breathing, his lungs, his lips, his mouth, his vocal box. Definitely safe with me, by the way. And I want you to just take control of his mouth and simply say this, please. I want you to say the words, hello. Just do that for me and see what happens. Gabe, I don't want you to fight it. I do not want you to say hello to please me. Try and do that for me, please, and see what happens. And just allow it to get stronger and stronger and stronger. It does get funny.
So, I don't know if you saw that. My hand is saying yes now.
I've been here many, many times, I promise you. So again, if you can just try again, and as Gabe, just simply say the words hello. Try and do that for me now and see what happens. Just relax for a moment. Gabe, I want you to do just what I said earlier. I'm probably going to do it now. I want you to concentrate on your left shoulder. Stop concentrating, speaking, not speaking, or thinking about it. Okay? Concentrate on your left shoulder, and just let me and this guy here do what we can do. Okay? Gabe's not concentrating on his left shoulder. It means me and you. So as he concentrates on his left shoulder, there's nothing at all. I want to see if you can sneak in right now, but not in a bad way. Gabe knows what we're doing. We're not doing anything surreptitiously. I want to see if you can just weave in right now, get him to take a nice breath in, take it as it comes in, and simply say what's up. Do it now. That's right. And now it's a practice, and we're getting stronger and stronger. So as the engines rev up and get stronger and stronger with each breath, try it with each breath and just see what happens. Because I want to go somewhere with it, but I can't go anywhere unless you can do this. So try again. You're doing great, by the way. Try it again and see what happens. And just rest and relax. Rest and relax. Now remember what happened here. I've got a guy who's come to see me for maybe it could be severe anxiety, it could be pain, it could be a suicidal client, it could be anything like that. I'm not here to make games. I'm here to make contact. And I want to make contact as strong as I can, stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. Would it be better if I then asked permission? And I'm not going to do hypnosis with Gabe now. I can put Gabe into hypnosis. He'd allow me to do that. It's not a problem. That's not what this is about. So I'm not going to go there. But if I were to ask you right now, if that were a situation with Gabe, would it be easier if we placed them together into hypnosis? Would that be okay with you? Would you be happy enough for that to happen? I think my statement's a bit unclear. We're not going to do anything right now unless you wanted that to happen, of course. But right now, if we're in a situation now, and I wanted to see if you could talk to me, and it were better if Gabe was going into hypnosis, would you be happy enough for that to happen? Okay. And just a matter of interest, and I'm not asking you to do this, I'm not asking you to do this. If I were to ask you, could you put Gabe into hypnosis? Would that be possible for you to do? Okay. So, if we did put you into hypnosis, would you be happy to do that right now? But we're not going to do anything in hypnosis.
Sure. Let's see here. We've got we're at 7:30. We may have a few more minutes left. Want to see what happens?
I'm going to do this very quickly. Yeah. Okay. And we'll see what happens. If it doesn't happen, don't worry about it.
Sure.
So what I want you to do is, I want you to turn Gabe's hand around to his face like so. Gabe, I want you to look at your hand. What I want you to do, and we'll find out later who you are, that can be good fun, but as you turn around towards Gabe, I want you to do that now for me, please. Again, all the way around, with your hand as well, that's right. And I want Gabe just to relax all the way around, just trust this part of yourself here. And you're on just whenever you want, just allow yourself, allow this part of you to place you truly into self-hypnosis. Because many people believe, does it exist? Does it not exist? If they have to bypass the critical factor, do we not? Is there such a thing as a critical factor? Is it another construct? Is it a critical factor? Is it a critical faculty? Do we need to spend time wasting time about it? Or can we call in this wonderful particles just to place us into there by synchronicity? It looks like we can. Now, in your own time, please, because I did promise that's all we're going to do. I want you to take Gabe back out of hypnosis. But before that happens, just allow him to feel fantastic. Let's never waste a chance. Just allow fantastic feelings to flow right through him. Just like a white light, cleanses every nerve, every fiber, every muscle. Absolutely, that's right. Totally brand new. Totally, absolutely brand new. Totally in control. Enjoying this weekend like he's never enjoyed one before. He opens his eyes knowing that he's got this control. With you by his side at any time. And he can do this. He can talk to you in the future. And he can just get everything absolutely fantastic. A new toolbox in his one, but the best one he's ever had. And you know how he is. We've got each other. And wake him up right now. And that's his one.
That was really cool. That was really, really cool. I will never, ever pass up a chance, by the way, to go into trance. It's a wonderful feeling. It's a great opportunity as well to let yourself go, and especially when you're dealing with an experienced hypnotist who knows how to bring you back feeling even better than before you went in. It's always an opportunity that I strongly recommend you say yes to. Bob, thank you very much for the introduction to the Swan. I have here some I'm a Swanner buttons. This is, I don't know if this is forwards or backwards or not, but we have 5 of them. So the first 5 people to send an email saying, thanks, Bob, will get one of these buttons, as well as, well, how's about one more? I didn't ask you for permission for this, but I just decided perhaps one more Skype call where you can ask any question you like, or perhaps even experience being swanned yourself. So first 5 people gets a button and also a free call to be swanned, as it were. So skeptics need to fly. Bob, thanks so much for stopping in. And
My pleasure.
I don't know what's going to happen next. We should have Johnny Dupree on his way, so perhaps he'll be here. And when he does show up, we'll have a really good talk with him about charisma and how matching and mirroring is not really necessary when people just like you. All right, Bob, thank you so much. I'll see you to the door.
Man.
And at this time, if you need to go to the bathroom or whatever, take 5 minutes and we'll be back.
Okay, my man.
All right.
Johnny Dupree.
Johnny Dupree.
On charisma?
I know. Who'd have thought it, huh?
We get the chance. We get the chance to tell a story about mirroring. I went on the mirroring course.
Yeah. All right. So I'll see you in the next couple of days. Hopefully soon, you imagine. All right. Okay. Hello. So we're back, and that was Bob Burns. If you saw him, phenomenal. I hope you had a good time. And again, I've got 5 of these buttons here that say "I am a Swanner." It says "I am a Swanner," and you got a little cool picture there of 2 hands making swan shapes. So if you'd like one of these buttons, just send us an email, gabriel@createyourmind.ca, to say, I want a button, or thanks, Bob, or whatever it is. That was insightful. And first 5 people get one of these, as well as a free live call with Bob Burns, probably on Skype, where you get to actually experience this one for yourself. We should have Johnny Dupree coming. This is the first time I've ever done these live hangouts, so I'm not entirely sure. If Johnny's going to be able to make it right now. He is here in Vegas,
And let's see what we see from G. She is saying she will be here soon. That's Johnny Dupree. Let's find you. Where are you, Johnny? Hello, Senor Johnny. My room number, if you haven't found it yet, is 472. 472. Come on over. The message has been delivered. Okay, so just a little bit more on the ideomotor response. What you saw there with Bob, and if you'd like to try this for yourself at home, you're more than welcome to. I'm just going to move these buttons out of the way. It's a pretty simple thing to do. Okay, you can either rest your hand on a table, or you can. This is a really good thing to do, is to just rest your elbow on the table and just relax your wrist. Okay. The reason this works is because I don't know if you must have experienced this at one point or another, where at any point during the day, maybe someone under the table bumps your leg or something, and your leg kind of does a little twitch, or you're sitting watching TV and your finger lifts. This is called it's a regular old twitch, but we normally call it as an ideomotor response. When you're thinking about something, your body will move according to what it is that you're thinking about. Right. So if you're, let's say you're on your bike or you're walking, and let's say you're walking down the street, right? You see someone across the street you think you know, and you're looking this way, and your body starts to move in the same direction, because your eyes dictate where your body moves. So too does your body move based on whatever it is that you're thinking of. So you can prompt your body to move in many particular ways. And in fact, when professional athletes are moving, they have very little conscious interferences into what it is that they're doing. So much so that in many sports, especially some of these high-risk sports like skydiving, if you were to have conscious interference, you'd go home in a body bag. So something you can try is rest your elbow on the table. Just relax your wrist. And talk to the hand, because the ears don't want to hear no more. Talk to the hand and say something like, if you can hear me, I'd like to see what you say when you say yes. Maybe your hand will move up and down. Maybe it'll move from side to side. Maybe just one finger will twitch. The important part here is, as Bob said, neither to fight it nor to actually do it on purpose. So maybe a finger will move. I know I saw my index finger move here. Let's see what my hand says. I want to see what do you say when you say yes. Oh, there it is. Feel free to give it a try at home. Now, Johnny Dupree may or may not be on his way, and if he isn't, that's cool too, because we can talk about charisma, we can talk about charm, which is what I wanted to talk to you about actually during the next meetup that we've got going on at the Everyday Hypnosis Workshop. We're going to talk a little bit more about matching and mirroring as a prequel to what we're going to be doing in the first weekend, the Power of Conversational Hypnosis Weekend Certification course. But for now, let's talk a little bit about charisma, and perhaps Johnny will be here, perhaps not. So, first of all, what is charisma? Charisma is being able to move people's emotions, specifically to move people's emotions from one place to another. Now, a lot of times what people do is they tell stories. This is a great way to make people feel what it is that you're trying to say. Because you ever meet somebody who gives you sort of like a laundry list of things of how they spent their day. Oh, so how's your day? Oh, well, I woke up this morning and I brushed my teeth and I had breakfast with my coffee, and then I went to work and it was a good day, and then I came home and then I ate dinner and then I went to bed. How was your day? Somebody with charisma can turn even the most mundane things and make them exciting. They know how to play with your words. They know how to basically be likable, be like the center of attention. And what I invite you to do is ask yourself, what's the difference then between somebody who is charismatic and somebody who is not? You already talked about this sort of ability to spike somebody's emotions. And what does that mean? What does it mean to spike somebody's emotions? You could make somebody laugh, make somebody sad. These emotions are the general term that we use to talk about how people feel. And any really, really good conversation that you've had will have a sort of roller coaster of different kinds of feelings and different conversations as you continue to talk to people about whatever it is that you're talking about. Most conversations differ from moment to moment, so that all you really need to do is, hold on a sec. We got a message from Johnny. That's Johnny. Come on down. Yeehaw. Hey, that's not Johnny. That's Bob. Should we get your bag? Right on.
Where's Johnny?
He's on his way.
Charisma's not everything.
Charisma's not everything.
Timing, Johnny, timing.
By the way, if you can hear me right now, please go to the chat box, because because I've never able to hear what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So there's a chat box either like up here somewhere, or maybe it's up here on your screen. I'm not entirely sure. I would love for you to just send me a little chat saying, yes, I hear you. Because I could be, and I wouldn't know, because I can hear myself from all the way over here. So just wait for a couple people, see who's around. And Johnny, by the way, will be here shortly. Okay. Yes. Now. Johnny's going to be here shortly, and we're going to be talking about how matching and mirroring means nothing when people like you. But what is matching and mirroring? Does anybody know? Matching and mirroring, the ability to see what other people are doing, copying what they're doing, but in an invisible way. Because obviously, you know, if I'm talking and then, you know, someone's copying me, stop copying me, stop copying me, stop copying me. When matching and mirroring really occurs, it's an unconscious process. And what usually happens is, you know, if you're hanging out with friends or something like that, you know, you're out at the bar and you're drinking together. All of a sudden, you lift up your glass to drink. And whoever it is that's with you also lifts up their glass to drink at the exact same time. This is what's called matching or mirroring. There's some argument about, which one is matching, which one is mirroring. Generally, the idea is if somebody is mirroring you, or if you are mirroring somebody else, if I lift up this hand, you, like a mirror, will then lift up the hand that's right in front of this, right? Or if you and I are side by side, and I lift up this hand, you know, and you're sitting next to me, this is my right hand, you lift up your left hand. That way, it looks like you're looking in the mirror. That has some very, very interesting effects. Matching, on the other hand, might be somebody scratches their nose. And so in turn, you might scratch the back of your head. Johnny Dupree, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going, buddy?
Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you too. Come on in. We were just swanning here with Bob, so I moved the table about. Prepare for some noise. Oh, there's no noise. Okay. Oh. Johnny stole my seat.
I can totally scoot
No,
over.
you can sit there, or we can cuddle. It's up to you.
We can totally cuddle.
So we were just talking about matching and mirroring. I gave a bit of a brief description of what it is because you decided to talk about how matching and mirroring means absolutely nothing when people like you already.
One of the things that I noticed when I started doing charisma coaching and I started working on building personal skills and connecting with individuals and stuff like that is that rapport felt to me like mechanical. It felt to me very robotic, like you had to spend too much time focusing on it. And if you have to step out and you have to meet somebody where they're at, it's actually much easier if you can develop a sort of magnetic personal power and attract them to you.
Okay.
And there's no need for the matching and mirroring.
So what do you mean by meeting somebody where they're at?
Well, there's a concept in NLP that they call pacing, which is when you meet someone and you're connecting with them, matching, mirroring, pacing them, meeting them in their experience and their model of the world so that you can relate to them. And when you can relate to them, it's easier for them to want to connect with you.
Okay.
But what I noticed was that rock stars never have to do that. Celebrities never have to do that. Prince Harry, Prince William, they never have to do that. And that's because our society says you should want to be near them. So what ends up happening is you end up flipping the script, and those individuals that meet you start to fall in love, they start to really enjoy being in your presence, and then they want to connect with you as opposed to you needing to connect with them. So when you flip it, all of a sudden there's no need to get mechanical, there's no need to get conscious, there's no need to spend time matching and mirroring because they already want to connect with you. And so because of that, you get to automatically set your intention to connect with them, and it happens automatically.
Okay, so how would you do that?
Through 3 frames of mind. I actually work on these mindsets within myself, and they're the 3 mindsets that I notice that children have. And when children get together on a playground, if you've ever watched children play together, they don't have the same hold-ups, they don't have the same holdbacks, they don't have any of the blocks or obstacles that we develop when we develop, in my personal opinion, an ego, pride, too much of self-reflection, self-awareness. They don't have any of that. So when they walk up to a kid on a playground, it's like, hey, do you want to play? And then all of a sudden the other kid's like, yeah. And now they're connecting. And they connected in 2 seconds. And it's all about mindset. So for me, it really comes down to 3 mindsets that I notice children sort of have. Okay, the first one is curiosity. Children are always really just super curious about the world because it's all new. Why? Right? Exactly. The eternal question there. Newness, novelty. So their desire to experience something that's not normal for them, it's not habitual, it's not automatic yet. They don't assume they know it. And because they don't assume that, they don't have any experience of it, they're always looking for something new. And that keeps them in a mindset of receive, of move into an experience so that you can learn from the experience, that you can have the experience. It's other people would call this the adventure mindset. Okay. And when you move into that with curiosity, people want to be around someone who's genuinely curious. So instead of walking up to somebody and thinking to myself, I've got to match them, I've got to mirror them, I've got to do my body language like this, I've got to ask them a certain number of questions, it becomes so much simpler when you develop within you the ability to just get curious. And so I practice daily getting curious about experiences in life, even if I've had them before. So if I walk into a Starbucks to order a latte or a coffee or something like that, I don't say to myself, oh, I should get on my phone right now, I should text somebody, I should finish that email that I was sending earlier. I ask myself this question: what might be happening here that I've never seen before, that may be brand new? Who can I meet right now that I may want to get to know better, that maybe keeps me in that mindset of curiosity? So like you asked earlier, the eternal question, why? That mindset as a whole in life keeps you, in my opinion, searching for change. And when you're looking for how people are different in any given moment, what may be new about them, then you're curious. And when you get curious, other people start to ask themselves, why is this person so curious? And now you've almost inspired them to get curious too.
So you're not talking about just being curious about the person in front of you. I mean, like, if you're, let's say, meeting somebody at Starbucks for the first time, right? Maybe it's the barista, or maybe it's somebody seated at the table next to you.
Yeah.
You're not talking about just asking them questions like, what? Why are you here? What are you doing? What's going on?
Yeah, no.
How old are you? Where are you from?
that would be like more like an interrogator mindset, which is like, sit down, where were you on August 13th? And you shine a little flashlight from your phone in there, or something like that. For me, it's more like just a mindset, just a curious mindset. So I'm not just curious about what people I may meet. I'm curious about the situation. How is this Starbucks different than every other Starbucks I've been to? What may be happening inside of that? Very little, by the way. I don't know. It depends on, right, corporate, this kind of thing. But my concept.
They put the bookshelf over here,
and then of course this product sits here.
Yep.
No, for me it's more like just curious about the environment, curious about the people in that environment, curious about the process that may be happening inside of that environment. It's just curiosity in general. It's an actual mindset. And one of the things I do with that is I actually practice it. I practice thinking not everything I'm going to see today is the same. So I get into that. So that's really the first mindset. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do have one question, though.
Sure, you don't hit me.
What's one way that you do practice?
I feel like a B-rated kung fu movie. Don't do that.
It seems evenly matched. So okay. So what are some ways that you do practice this? If you're listening to this right now and you want to become more curious, you want to become more playful, here is one really good way that you can become more curious about it.
Oh, okay. For me, it's the eternal question. My dad used to say to me when I was a little boy, he used to say that a man becomes a product of the questions he asks himself. Now, albeit that's a deep thought, but and I'm pretty sure my dad didn't make that gender specific on purpose. I think he meant mankind, not an actual man.
So if you're a woman listening to this, you are also included in that general statement.
You are a product of the questions you ask yourself. And so I started to recognize that in myself. When I was walking into these situations, I was in more of a statement mindset, which is I thought I knew. I've been inside of the Starbucks before. I've ordered my Starbucks before. I know where everything's positioned in the room because I was here yesterday.
Right. They serve the food here. These people are serving the coffee. It's bold on this side and light on that side.
I'm in more of a statement mindset. Like I know what's here. I know what's going on. I know what this is going to be like. That's more of a learning mindset. Like I'm already there. I'm already where I need to be. Well, children don't know that they know anything. So they're more like, at least from my experiences, they're more like in a questioning mindset. So I ask myself questions in my head more often. So when I'm walking into something like a Starbucks, or I'm walking into a situation I think I know something about, I'll take a moment before I walk in, and when I touch the doorknob or I touch the door handle, I ask myself a question, and as I open the door, I'm seeking an answer to the question when I walk in. So I'm already in curiosity just by switching in my mind from making statements to myself, that little voice in my head, to asking myself questions about what this could be. So I'm asking.
And so that question is what? What's new here?
What's new here? Who might I meet right now?
Right.
What could transpire right now that might change my life? I wonder what these people might these people think about me. Is there something I can do right now that's completely different than anything else I've ever done? So that's curiosity as a mindset. Really, is just about, for me, switching that voice in my head from making statements to making questions.
Okay. So there's a huge difference there between making statements and making questions inside your own mind, right? The sky is blue. How did the sky get so blue?
Is it going to be blue today? And that's a big philosopher's question and stuff like that. But I wonder what colors of blue the sky will be today. So it's wonderment, it's curiosity, it's this childlike awe of newness. just new things, new stuff, new everything. Just seeing the new in the moment, which what I love.
So be curious. See the new in the moment.
Be curious. Get curious.
What's number two? Your second mindset.
The second mindset is it's something that kids, once again, I keep going back to children, that they do it really well, and that is play or fun. Which is when I'm approaching a new situation, how much fun can I create? How much fun can I inject into this situation, into this environment? Where can I be? Yeah, right. Seriously,
right now.
Where can I be playing? Where can I be having fun? Where can I find a smile that I didn't expect? And now I'm taking curiosity and I'm jumping it to the next step. So I started with an open mindset. Now it's more, what can I add? It's what can I inject into the situation? Okay, and that's a really interesting one, because when you start to have fun, you break people out of their automaton minds, their automatic pilot, their habitual statements, because all of a sudden fun isn't what they would expect. So all of a sudden they're asking themselves a question like, what's this guy want? What's he acting like this for? Why is he smiling so much? You know, I'm switching their mindset by interacting in a new way.
Interesting. So when you act in a new and novel way, when you're injecting fun, which, by the way, is the opposite of having fun or looking for fun from the situation. It's actually making the fun and putting it and offering it and giving it to whatever is or whoever is in the circumstance that you're in. Now, this is, oh, geez. You know, when you say something and then you don't remember where you're going with it? This is one of those moments.
Yeah, but that's fun. Yeah. And what I mean is, like, I'll give you an example. Say I walked into the middle of this interaction with about 5 or 6 people at Disneyland about, I'd say probably 6 or 7 weeks ago, and they were all dressed up in different, we call it cosplay. If you don't know what that is, it's like costume play. So they're all dressed up as these different characters. And I walked into the middle of the situation, and I went to say something, and they all just turned and stared at me, and I lost it. Just went straight out of my head. And so I had fun with that. I looked at them and said, I have something really clever and witty to say right now, but and they looked at me and I went, that was a total brain fart. And when I said that, they all laughed their tail off at me because I was having fun with me. Okay, in some social science circles, they call it self-amusement, which is, I'm not saying this to get a result out of them. I'm saying it because it's really amusing to me, and I'm inviting them to join me in my amusement, in my fun.
Which then puts them in that frame of curiosity themselves, which is what? Mindset number one.
Indeed. I love it. He gets all like Carl Sagan on me. He's getting all TV show host, which is fun.
Even better, because this is my first live interview ever, so it's very exciting for me. I'm like putting on the role, putting on the mask, but masks is something for a different day.
And now we're talking about costumes again. So for me, it's the second mindset is always fun, and that I would say the number one thing that people, at least I want to experience, and I've noticed this when I talk to people about it, is they don't have enough fun in their lives. They don't play enough. They don't get enough opportunities to act like a child, to create humor, to play with a new idea, to play with a new joke, to meet somebody and not expect anything out of them or expect anything out of themselves. So when you have fun with somebody with no expectations for yourself or for them, then all of a sudden their mindset shifts. And they're like, I don't have too many people in my life that are fun. And so when they meet you, it's like, I want to know more about this guy. I want to know more about this girl. I want to know more about this person, because you're inspiring something within them by adding something to their life that wasn't there before. And it just is around that 3-letter word. So I'm just constantly thinking to myself, what's self-amusing? Like, how could I have fun right now, even if nobody else wants to have fun with me? How can I be having fun in this situation?
That's a great thing to be curious about.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that one's the harder one, because as we get older, I think, at least in Western culture that I've noticed, people are told or taught, you need to be mature, you need to be an adult, you need to be very serious. There's a lot of, you have to attend to work, which means you have to best maximize your time. And I get that. I totally understand people wanting to invest their life moments in furthering their endeavors. But is it worth it if you're having no fun? Is that endeavor worth it if there's no sense of freedom within it? If there's no freedom of expression? If there's no newness? And we go back to the adventure again. So for me, it's all about interjecting into people's normal patterns this fun. And that really, I think, is the second mindset that people want to spend time around. They want to be around that.
I imagine that there's got to be many people who fit the mold for what it is that you're saying, people who've spent so many years up until now being so busy that they've forgotten what it's like to be fun. And sure. I know that, you know, it's in the Western world, it's not an easy thing to remember, to have fun, because as you said, right, in you know, office culture, the corporate world, people don't have you know, like, what do we do? We have corporate softball tournaments to, you know, to make fun something that we can put on the schedule so that, you know, the office workers don't revolt.
Everything's
you know?
planned, like morale exercises.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it kills me. Team building.
Team building. Yeah. All right. Catch me if you can. So if you had one, you know, one or two or 12 or 5,000 different ways that you could share with everyone who's listening and watching, hello. What could you suggest for somebody who could start to become playful again?
Well, there's a lot of different things you can do. I would say the first thing is actually go and watch children play. There's a park right next to my house. So when I go and I do my workouts, I do my exercises, I choose to exercise at the park. And the reason for that is because I spend time around people, a lot of different people. And at the park, there's a lot of different people, different ages, different races, different classes, different kids playing. There's a huge playground. So there's something about listening to a child's laughter. There's something about watching them interact and play different games and come up with rules for games and just create stuff and climb in trees and stuff like that, that inspires it to come out of me. Even though that may not be the proper situation for me to just go and run up to some strange kid and start climbing a tree with them. It's more about putting myself in proximity of people who are having fun, so that I actually begin to, through social osmosis, absorb that state of mind. The second thing is, one of my dear friend and great business partner, his name is Marcus, your charisma coach. He's amazing. One of the things he recommends is going and taking improv classes. So going and actually putting yourself in a situation where you're forced to think on your feet and have fun, because the very basis of improv is comedy. It's about creating humor. So you almost have to pull those moments out of you. So that's another way to do it.
And if you're living in Toronto, you can go to the Second City, or there's a lot of meetups as well where you can go to, you know, just do some improv stuff. And I know if you guys just send me an email if you want to be hooked up with some improv stuff. Otherwise, yeah, Second City. Even if you just want to sit in the audience and watch people do this, it's amazing. You have to try it out. So doing some improv. What else?
So doing improv. Well, another thing for me is what's something that would cause you as a person to laugh. So it's you know, like, I'd actually plan a situation. So I find myself when I'm working, you know, I get into my own sort of habitual actions every day because I have my own office, and I need to eat, and I go to sort of the same locations and the same places. I go in with the intent on creating something new. So how did I go in there yesterday? How can I go in there today? And sometimes it's just something as small and as simple as laughing, coming up with a joke, reading something in the morning that's funny and hilarious, and then walking in with the intention on telling the joke to the cashier or the stranger standing next to me in line. So it's actually just setting the intention, literally saying, for today, my focus is fun, and I'm just going to create fun wherever I'm at, even if other people aren't willing to join me in it. So sometimes it's just as simple as setting the intention. It's not like, you know, I got to go out and take a 6-month course on improv. You know, it could be something very simple, just setting a goal of actually having that fun. Another tip is, who do you know that's fun? who in your life do you, when you think of fun, who do you want to call? That literally embodies that for you. And when they do, call them. Spend more time with them. Take them out for a drink. Go out and have fun with them.
Oh, go have fun.
Go, literally.
It's a good way to have fun is to go have fun.
Yeah, that
Totally.
might be something worth considering. And I found that last one was a really big one for me. If I find people in my life that are fun and I spend more time around those people that are fun, then I will, just by means of spending time with them, will start to pick up the way they think. I think it was Jim Rohn that said you will become a product of the 5 people you spend the most time with in 2 years. And so I literally just choose to spend more time with people that are fun than people that are more mature, more serious, or more solid.
Right, and this is a really important one as well, because you do become very much like the people that you spend the most time with. So if you take a sort of inventory of all the people you know and the people you spend the most time with, you may find that your quality of life may be very much affected by the people who you are spending the most time with. So take stock of that. Okay, so but I'm wondering, the people that so you're going out, you're having fun, right? What's the difference between you making yourself laugh and bringing people into that in a way that makes you charismatic, that makes you a magnetic personality, as opposed to somebody who walks around with a donut on their head and cackles at the top of their lungs, and also smells like urine?
Well, I think you just labeled it. It's really finding the boundaries or the limitations of what society will accept from you. And that's not so easy. That's actually not, that's the more complex thing to figure out, which is why professions like yours exist. Charisma coaching exists because you're already proficient and a professional at knowing what society will allow and what it won't allow. So you have to figure out what rules can be bent and what rules can just be ignored and what rules can be broken and replaced with other rules. So, a guy walking around on the street with a donut on his head, talking to himself and yelling obscenities, could be very funny on a Friday night when everybody else in that city is drunk. Why? Because the rules say on a Friday night, abnormal behavior is more allowed. But if you're on your way to work at 8 o'clock in the morning with your espresso and you're standing on a street corner and that same guy is standing next to you yelling obscenities, you're not in the same mindset because the rules have changed socially. So being able to figure out or navigate that is a really valuable thing, which is why you find a coach like you to say, let's go out together and let me show you, you and I can work together and I can show you how you can have fun with people, invite them into your world, into your little personal universe in a way that still respects the shared reality that you live within, the social reality that you live within. And that's why I think it's invaluable and priceless to have a coach. They give you the shortcuts.
Absolutely. And by the way, these shortcuts are all going to be shown as well to you in the Power of Conversational Hypnosis certification happening first weekend of September 4th to 6th. So if you haven't blocked out that time yet, please do. And registration is continuing on for that. And I'll send you a link to register for that. Probably, if not the end of tonight, then tomorrow. We're just working out the technical stuff so that we can do this online.
Go check that out. It's in my personal opinion, and this is sort of a bonus mindset that I really don't talk about too often, and I wasn't going to mention today, but you get your bonus now. It's staying the eternal learner, the consummate student, which is when you keep yourself in an open mindset by going and taking some courses, by reading some books, by taking some improv classes, by working with a coach, you're staying in this learning mindset. And for me, that taps into the understanding that when you have an open mind, you're more adaptable, you're more flexible, you're more able to be connected to what's happening in the moment, in this context or in this environment. So for me, that's a sort of a bonus one. and a much deeper idea, but worth exploring.
And knowing Johnny as well as I do, I know that almost every time I see him, he's got a book in hand or something else that he's
Or 5.
12,000 million.
Thank God for Kindles.
Right.
By the way, we're not being sponsored by Kindle.
Nope. So you can get one or not.
We'll be sending out an affiliate link later.
Free bonus. Now, so that's okay. That's speaking of bonuses. So that's bonus.
That was a bonus. That's not even
mindset.
a mindset that I would normally entertain or even teach, because that actually is an advanced or a mastery level mindset for those individuals who can get there. And can with the right coach and the proper coaching, which, by the way, the course I'm sure that you're offering, the Power of Conversational Hypnosis, dives into the importance of being able to learn, especially when it comes to social connections, this ability to help people to want to connect with you because you're so damn likable. You know,
Stop it.
So, no, oh, I didn't mean you. I mean, I'm just.
Oh, no, it's the royal you. It's you guys out there.
You out there.
You, and if you're not yet, you will be.
Okay.
So that was the bonus. What's mindset number 3?
This one's one of my favorites, and it's what I call the mystery. And that is when you offer people too much information in a moment, they have no more questions to ask. So they can't get curious because you're offering too much. So to bring balance to how much fun you inject into a situation is the opposite end of that, which creates that real beautiful dynamic. And that is what I would identify as the James Bond syndrome, which is when somebody asks a question, when you inject something into a situation, when they engage with you, you don't offer too much, not too much energy, not too much information, not too much of you. You give them just enough to get curious and to have fun, but not so much that they feel they know you now. They feel like they know what's going to happen next, because then they can develop an expectation. And so the mystery mindset is more like James Bond, which is when somebody asks him a question, he'll give them just his name. So what do? I do a lot of things. You know, it's beautifully ambiguous, which is like, okay, so what kinds of stuff do you do? Dangerous stuff. And then all of a sudden, they're like, the curiosity gets amplified to a whole different level. And at that point in time, now they're invested. Now they're wanting to inject something into the situation. They're wanting to add worth or value to the interaction.
So there's a point at which, though, this can piss people off, though, right? So
exactly.
You know, at some point, you know, you can only be so mysterious until someone's just like, okay, to hell with you. I don't want to bother with this anymore. So there's definitely a level of mystery where, you know, you can engage people's curiosity by not telling them too much.
Yes.
Where's that fine line?
That fine line for me happens after curiosity and fun, which is why I always label mystery as the third mindset. It's what brings balance and harmony to the situation. When you create curiosity by being curious about them, and you're asking questions maybe about them or their situation or what's happening right in that moment, and you're adding value to the moment. You're adding value to the environment by injecting fun into it, by maybe teasing or being playful or asking a question in a different way, or smiling more, or
asking.
Question. I'll play with tone.
Way?
Absolutely, you can totally play with your voice. But at some point in time, they need to engage as well. So what I noticed about rock stars and celebrities and people that are extremely charismatic is they offer of themselves, but they don't offer their complete self. They leave a question mark in it for the other person to engage in the interaction, so that they get to play in the same common ground that you've created.
Okay.
If you're the only one giving, the other person doesn't have anything to add of themselves. So why would they want to engage with you? Why would they want to connect?
Right. So you're talking about somebody, for example, who you know, they come up to you and they say, "Oh, hey, my name's Gabriel. Nice to meet you. I'm a hypnotist, and I see a lot of clients, and I teach a lot of stuff, and you know, I really love to hypnotize people, and you know, go out and, you know, do hypnosis, and You know, I'm a really fun guy too. Like people really like me, and we, you know, we could be friends. We could totally be friends. You know what? Let's be best friends.
It sounds like a narcissist because they're literally not leaving any space. There's no space for the other person to find themselves in, to add themselves into. So there is no we. It's still you and I. And there's no us in it. So once you develop the curiosity, because if you're not curious, most other people aren't curious themselves. So they're in their statement mode or their automaton or habitual mode. So if you don't add curiosity within yourself, they're not going to. So if you don't add the question, nothing opens up. But once it's opened by your curiosity about what could be created, now you have space within yourself to add fun. And so you can add fun into the situation, into the interaction, into the connection. And then the mystery is where you leave space for them to add themselves. And when they add, there's no need for rapport. You've added, now they're adding, you're connected. There's a relationship that's there, whether it's a very simple, very surface level one that's being created and being fostered. Right. There's still a connection. Right. So there's
still about small talk here for the most part.
Phatic speak. Yeah, there's no need for them to engage yet. So when you leave that space, they engage, and now the you and I become we. And now we are having fun together. Okay, and at that point in time, now you get to play between curiosity, fun, and mystery. And that's what you said, is where's that fine line? Well, if you're only playing mystery, where's the fun? Where'd the fun and curiosity go? Where did your curiosity go?
Right. So now that you fostered this sort of environment, this sort of context where things are fun, you're playful and you're curious about what's going on around you, and you've encouraged, as a result of you being playful and curious, you've encouraged them to become playful and curious.
Bingo.
Then you can leave enough space for them to engage with you.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
Yes.
Right. So you want them. You're not trying to withhold information. You're just withholding enough information for them to actually say something, for them to talk, for them to ask you questions, for them to want to learn about you.
You got it. And if they don't, and this is this is my personal opinion about the situations I've been in my life. If they don't engage when I offer enough mystery or enough openness, enough space for them to add something, I'll do what Marcus and I call the 5 no's exercise, which is I'll stay in it for enough time, but if they're not going to engage at all, I want to move on, because I want somebody who wants to play. I want somebody who wants to engage. And what I noticed is that rock stars will literally just sort of ignore the people that aren't engaging either, that aren't adding anything into the situation, that aren't choosing, because on some level we all have to choose it, that are choosing not to connect. If they're not choosing to connect, I'm not going to waste my time trying to build rapport by matching and mirroring and doing all of this stuff, because all it communicates is I'm going to give nonstop and all you have to do is receive. There's no we. There's only me giving to you, and you're never going to give back. And that's another kind of fine line, which is rapport all you want. If someone doesn't want to connect, you're not going to connect. And I think that's where some NLP principles fall off, is that they'll push too far. They'll still try to engage with someone even when that person is blatantly not in a place in their life, maybe in that moment to want to engage with anybody. Maybe their mother or father just passed away. Maybe maybe they just lost their job. Maybe they're in the middle of a deadline for a project and they really need that time to engage in what it is that's most important to them. Right. I need to allow them to have their humanness, to have their life, or all I'm doing is self-imposing.
Right.
And then
you're just an interruption.
Bingo. And all you're going to do is piss them off. And so for me, that's where the real game is at. That's where you get to play and learn. Because if you could just become this massive charismatic expert just by sitting in and listening to these 3 tips, where's the evolution? Where's your own personal growth? Where do you get to now take the lessons we're offering and make it a part of you? so that it becomes not just something that you do, but it becomes a part of who you are.
That's right. Because just like matching and mirroring, what we're suggesting here, what Johnny's suggesting, are very similar in at the level of the techniques that hypnosis and NLP can offer. But ultimately, you have to take these things and you have to make them your own, right? You have to be able to play and to have fun, not in the way that Johnny has fun, not in the way that I have fun. You have to be able to have fun in the way that you find really fun. So you can look to people, you can look to other role models, you can look at other hypnotists, you can go to trainings, and those are really, really valuable, especially the one that's coming up in September.
No slow pitch there. Nothing.
No, nothing like that. As valuable as they are, the only way that you will find any value to just about anything that you learn as a life skill is for you to then apply all the skills that you're learning in a way that's most authentic to who you really are.
Mm. Agreed.
And so when you're having fun, have fun with the things that amuse you, self-amusement.
Yeah.
When you're curious, be curious about things that really are interesting to you.
Mm.
And to the point where you are interested all the time, right? I mean, I'm fairly guilty of being, distracted by the butterfly that passes through the room. If you've been to one of my workshops, you've literally seen me catch a fly in midair while talking. There's any number of ways for you to be interested in the world around you, and what's important is for you to be interested in the way that best suits you. Mm. So that people can be curious, not about, Mr. Robo technique guy, but they can be curious about who you really are. They can be curious about what's important to you, and they'll get a sense of who you really are when you can be curious in your own way. You can be playful in your own way. That's mysterious. That makes you somebody that other people want to know.
And the reason it's mysterious is because you're not like everybody else. So that it automatically implies something unique about you, and everyone wants to be around someone. At least this has been my experience. Everybody wants to be around someone that's unique, someone that's different, and yet still has fun, still is curious, still has these mindsets, because it inspires us to find what within us can be fun and curious and mysterious as well. So it's something beautiful in my personal opinion. And those are only 3 mindsets. There's so many more to discover and play with. Those are just the 3 in my eyes as being the primary and the most important when it comes to developing that charisma, that sort of that energy that wraps itself around you, that people can feel when you walk into a situation, a party, Starbucks, anything. Yeah.
Great. Now, if anyone has any questions for Johnny, do have space in the chat box, or you can also post something on the Create Your Mind page if you've already liked that page. And if not, no worries. You can still post your comments in the YouTube comments section, and Johnny will be happy to answer that as soon as he possibly can. All right, Johnny. I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to say? Do you have any famous last words?
No, actually, that's pretty much the top 3 things that I spend the most time focusing on.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Gabe.
Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, man. Have a great day.
You too.
Cheers.
So this is going to be like the awkward part where we stand up and say goodbye while everyone else gets to sort of watch us leave.
Little bitty Irish jig, and we're having fun all the way out.
All right, man. I'll send you a text. We'll meet up later. Definitely. All right, see ya. Okay, I'm back. I'm here. Here I am. So I hope that was really useful for you. Johnny Dupre is one of my very, very good friends and mentors he's taught me so much about charisma, so much about hypnosis, and is really one of the people that if you're not training with me, you got to be training with him. So I believe, I don't think he has any upcoming workshops, but if I'm going to be going, I'm definitely going to be telling you about it. Now, that's as far as we're going to be going in terms of charisma. What I'm going to do, actually, is try and figure out whether or not Seth Deborah Roth is going to be available. Let's see. Seth Deborah Roth, where are you? What should I say? We are waiting. How about feel free to come now? We are live. Exclamation mark, enter. So far we've managed to have a conversation with Bob Burns, who is the inventor of the swan technique. I've got 5 buttons here that say "I'm a swanner." I don't know if you can see it or not. There we go. I don't even know if you can hear me. There's some people on, but you could just see, and I'm saying right out, but know if you're listening to me or not. So we've got buttons. I got 5 of them for those who send me an email to Gabriel@CreateYourMind saying, I want a button, or thanks, Bob, show me more. Whatever it is, I'll send you a button to your house, as well as a ticket to have a live Skype conversation. It's very similar to this with Bob, where you get to actually try the swan technique for yourself. There's only 5 of these, and these will be your entry to that with Bob. He is, he's been doing this stuff in over 50 countries. You see, he's got white hair. I know the youthful pink glasses don't really show his age, but he does his work in over 50 countries. Does talks in Singapore, Australia, you name it. He's been there, and his work is very powerful, especially if you're a change agent. If you're somebody who does therapy, if you're somebody who's already doing hypnosis, you definitely want to check out the kind of things that Bob is doing. And again, the reason I'm doing this is because I'm not the only hypnotist out there, and I don't want you to feel like the world of hypnosis is as small as I thought it was when I first started. I'm here in Las Vegas right now in a huge convention where there's people I don't even know yet who've been doing things that are incredibly unbelievable to what most people think is possible with the mind. I'm going to be seeing some stuff, I believe forensic hypnosis. There's a huge roster, stuff about building relationships, which Johnny is absolutely amazing at. Igor, who unfortunately won't be here today, he may be available next Thursday, which will be one of the last days of the hypnotic storytelling training, which, by the way, seeing as we did charisma here today with Johnny, the first Thursday, or is it the second? The second Thursday of September is going to be about hypnotic storytelling. So when you come out to the Everyday Hypnosis session, yes, you will be learning how to tell stories that are magnetizing, that are charming, that are beyond anything else transformative, so that you can embed suggestions inside even the most mundane stories. And I want you to be there so that you can learn how to tell the best stories ever. Stories, by the way, have been around since the dawn of humanity. It was the very, very first way that we've ever been able to pass on information from one generation to the next. Stories were there before the written language, and they are still here today for very important reasons. And it's how we share all of our information, from gossiping with people. I got so drunk last night, I'll just cry that. To oh my God, you'll never guess what happened to me the other day. Even when I say something like that, you'll never guess what happened the other day. It perks people's ears up. How would you like to be able to tell stories that do just that? I won't have time in the Power of Conversational Hypnosis workshop to do that too much in depth. Pre-registration had the ability for you guys to do one of the master classes that was storytelling. But what I'm going to do is, if you're really, really interested in attending those master classes, they were $189 each. I'm going to make them, for all 3 of the master classes, That's one of them. I'm going to make them available to you for $50 each. You can still attend, but it is going to be a paid event for you. So I'll let you know more about that some other time. But right now we're just waiting on Madam Seth Deborah Roth, who may or may not be available this evening. And if not, I'm still going to interview her, and I'll just post it on YouTube, and we'll make it live. So far, we've talked about charisma. We're going to be talking about storytelling in a couple weeks. I guess I'd like to take this opportunity to just give you a quick reminder that first weekend of September, we are doing the Power of Conversational Hypnosis weekend certification. I know I've had a lot of questions about what that's going to be all about, who it's for, why even learn conversational hypnosis in a weekend? Is it even possible? So I just wanted to touch briefly on the fact that if you're thinking about coming to the weekend certification, I strongly recommend you do. If you are either a salesman or saleswoman, if your job is to influence people to buy things, you don't want to miss out on this, because getting people to say yes to you is one of the main things that we're going to be focusing on during the workshop, during the certification rather. Another thing, if you are a healer of any sort, if you are a therapist, or if you are a parent, if your job is in some way related to being responsible for somebody else and for their well-being, you don't want to miss this either, because your ability to influence people's emotions, people's behavior, and people's thoughts means that you can affect someone's physiology. You can affect somebody's emotions. You can make somebody feel better conversationally. The most important part about all of this is that it's invisible. So nobody's going to know that you're doing hypnosis, and that's the way, for most people, that's the way you want it to be. Most people, when I tell them, oh, I'm a hypnotist, what do they say? They say, oh no, don't look at me in the eyes, which is fine, because there's a huge misconception right now about what hypnosis is. And you've been lucky enough to discover that what it really is an art of communication. It's the science and the psychology of communication. And when you can master that psychology of communication, you can master that science, what ends up happening is you do become just like Johnny. You become more charismatic. You become a magnetic personality. You're able to move people from feeling bad to feeling good. You can help people learn things. If you're a teacher and you've got students of any sort whom you want to be able to learn better, if you want them to learn faster, you're going to experience an entirely different way of teaching that will change the way your students interact with you. And by the way, we've got lots of people here who are firearms instructors. We've got police officers here. You can use this for forensic hypnosis. You can use it for therapy. We're talking about the whole 9 yards here. If you're looking for a promotion, if you want something better in your job, if you want people to treat you with more respect, if you want to be trusted and when you say things, if you want people to listen with rapt attention, if you want to be the authority that you feel that you deserve to be, this is your opportunity to make that happen for you. So we are going to make that available for you either this evening or tomorrow to register online. Again, we have 4 or 5 places that are already filled. That means there's only 15 spots left. Okay, so if you're interested, again, please do this as soon as possible, because I am expecting a full house. It's $300 to sign up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a couple different bonuses. The master classes are no longer available. I may put them up again, like I said, for $50 each, depending on what you're interested in. I believe it's building hypnotic rapport, storytelling, which is going to be one of my favorites, in mind-bending language. And if you don't know what mind-bending language is, me explaining it to you right now will just bend your mind to the extent that you won't really know entirely what it is that you were trying to understand that's beyond what you haven't thought of yet. So, that being said, those are 3 different master classes, which I will either sell them for $50 to you to be present there, or I may take the recordings and make them available to you, but I just don't know yet. Signing up for the Power of Conversational Hypnosis, weekend certification should be a priority for you if you're ready to take your social relationships, your personal relationships, and your business relationships to the next level. With that being said, I don't believe that Madam Seth Deborah Roth is going to be here, which is unfortunate because she has medical experience. So she's done a variety of things, and what I will do is I'll track her down. I'm going to hunt her down. I'm going to post it on Facebook. So what you want to do right now is go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/CYM Hypnosis Training. Facebook.com/CYM Hypnosis Training, and there you will find all the updates and also I'll post a link there when we're ready to launch registration. Pre-registration is now over. I hope you guys have a really great evening. It's been really fun doing this interview with you live from Las Vegas, and have a great evening, everybody.